so sitting in your first seated pose, Virasana or cross legs to ground and prepare for yoga. Feel that the base is firm and steady, sharpening your feeling of your feet or shins on the floor, holding in with the outer legs and drawing up at the lowest part of your torso. So the belly back sacrum in and trying to lift up the energy of the low spine. Continue that up into the trunk and up into the thoracic spine, opening across the chest. Go ahead and bring your hands in prayer, close the eyes. Relaxing inside of the face and head, letting go of the day. Feel the breath, let that draw you inward. I'll begin with a single Om. Bow your head down. Bring your hands down, raise your head and open up your eyes and stretch out your legs. Good. Okay, so let's stand and come either into 90-degree pose or dog pose with your hands on the chair. So if you don't have an easy place at the wall to work, you could use your chair. Otherwise, place your hands at your shoulder height, walk back and stretch your legs so that your hips are over your feet. And just make it feel good. So a nice straight line through your arms, a nice straight line through your legs. And when you need to rest, you can walk forward and let your arms rest down. Good. And then walking forward. Okay, so then turn so that your right side is near the wall. Take your right arm behind you. Get close to the wall with your side. Yeah. Good. And then just try to stand up nice and tall. Feel your feet into the ground. And then lower your arm and turn and do your other side. If you can, if your shoulder allows for it, your palm faces the wall. But if your shoulder cannot tolerate that, the palm can face out. And so then you just try to stand up nice and tall and get close to the wall with your hip. And then lower the arm and turn. Now go ahead and go back to your first side. And I'm going to get a little closer and watch so I see. So your right side near the wall, your right arm behind you. And stand up nice and tall. Yeah, like that. Good. And then release it and turn. And you know, you have to be sensitive with what your neck and shoulder can tolerate, but if you can, you want to raise the arm behind you and kind of pin yourself near the wall. There you go. Feel your feet. Good. And then release it, just like that. Okay, so back to 90 when you're ready. Hands shoulder height, walking back. Push back with the feet, the thighs, and press your feet down. So you're really trying to get a nice straight line through the arms and through the legs. Good, staying for what feels good in your body. If you need to rest, you rest. And then bending your knees, walk forward. Okay, so then some of us might want a chair for the next one. We're gonna still work at the wall. Let me show you with the chair real fast and then minus the chair. So the chair makes it easier. I put it near the wall and then I'm gonna bring my right leg forward and heel onto the seat. And if you're able to do it minus the chair, your foot will go right onto the wall. Okay, so we're going to stand on the left and take your time. Get yourself set up, take your time. And then standing on left, when you're ready, bring your right leg forward either onto the chair or onto the wall. And if you can, bring your hands onto your hips. Bring your elbows back, lift your chest up. That's it. Good, and then taking that leg down. Now, when you bring your leg up, we're gonna do it a couple times. When you bring your leg up, you don't wanna just kind of sag forward with your thighs and with your belly. So you wanna really stand up nice and tall, like you're in a Tadasana position, okay? So when you're ready, standing on the right, down, bringing the left leg forward. And that's where you have to really draw energy back in the belly and the standing leg thigh, and you're trying to go up through the spine. And lowering that leg, pausing with your feet on the floor for a moment, balancing, and then when you're ready, going again with the first side. Getting really tall through the spine, energy of the belly is back, and the standing leg thigh is back. Head right on top of the spine. And lowering, taking a pause, evening out, balancing, and then when you feel grounded and ready, taking your other leg. And drawing the energy back on your standing thigh. Good, a couple of breaths. And lowering, and now either downward facing dog or chair dog. So if you'd rather be working with your chair, bring your hands down, otherwise you can go right onto your mat. Taking the thighs back as the hips go up. Nice poses. Okay, I'm gonna be in my pose too for a moment, not looking at the screen, and just see if you could really take the tops of your legs up, right at the very fronts of your thighs, at the very top, go up, up, up. Your heels might have to go up for a moment to do that. The energy of the belly draws gently up. It doesn't push towards the ground. Feel your breath. Good, and then come into child's pose. So those that are using the chair, carefully take your time coming down. And you can do a child's pose that works best for your arms. So if you're wanting to rest your arms, that's fine. If you're stretching them, that's fine. Just wherever that works best. Now, if I hold you too long and you need to get out of it because of your knees, then you'll just come up at any time. But those that can, come up a little bit and go over the right leg and lower your rib cage down onto your right leg. You know, if you can, kind of just lay over to the right. Yeah, a couple of breaths here. And then to the center for a moment, just evening out a little bit, and then over the other leg. Try to really get your belly to go over there, and then rest. And then in the middle. Now again, we're gonna do dog pose, but if you're feeling like it needs to be a little easier, you're gonna go back to your chair if you need it. So optional to be in a full classic dog pose with hands and feet on floor or using the chair. And then those that have hands on the floor, come forward a little bit with your shoulders over your hands, kind of look at your hands, and then bend your right knee into your chest and take it back. And then your left into your chest and take it back. Good. And then a child's pose or laying on the back. A little bit of a rest here. Good, and then let's come on up and so if you have a strap, get your strap. And I'm gonna show you an optional way of doing a Supta Padang Ustasana. You can try it, and if you don't like it, you're gonna go flat with your back on the floor in the way we usually do it classically. But I'd love it if you have a strap, if you could use it. So I've got a blanket folded from headstand size into that long, narrow rectangle, which is kind of like a small flat bolster, right? It's like, you know, the size of a bolster, but much thinner and smaller. And I'm gonna lay back on it with the blanket under my sacrum. Just like we do in those little setu bandhas that we do. So I've got my chest really lifted, tailbone dropping slightly off of the edge. And then when I go up into Supta Padang Ustasana, I can be, you know, working right here with the leg that's up straight and the other leg bent, or potentially straightening out the lower leg. And then those that are okay with this, we're gonna go into position 2 as well. But so like I said, it's optional. You could always go flat with your back on the floor if you're feeling like it's better for you. So let's go up with the right leg. And if you can, with the strap, because it's, yeah, it's way easier to do this with a strap. And so really try to straighten your leg that's up, and if possible, you want to straighten your arms and really roll your chest open. So if your shoulders can't do that, you know, then you need to rest your arms as needed. And then optional to slide the left leg out. You don't have to do that. That makes it all a little bit more hard working. And then we're going to bring the strap into the right hand only, and if you can, bring your foot forward towards your face first, and then to the right. And at that point, I put my left hand at the top of my left leg, and I really press my left leg down. And I'm trying to keep my sacrum nice and level on the blanket that's under it. So my belly has to surrender towards that blanket, down. Breathing. And then assisting, definitely use your arm to assist the leg to come back up, cross it over to the right hand, and go a little bit over to, did I say it wrong? Cross it to the left hand. Yeah, sorry, I'm mixing it up a little bit. And then taking it over across to the left side. And then to the center. And then hug your knees in for a moment. And let's put the feet on the floor. So this time I'm not gonna mix up my sides because I had it turned around because of the way I was laying in the room. So now belt your left leg and take it up. And try to really stretch it. Open up your chest. I mean, try to really straighten it. Yeah. And then it's optional to slide the right one out. And of course, at any point, you're welcome to stop. And then if you're going to position 2, you hold with your left hand. Try to bring your foot forward towards your face first and then left. And that's where I put my right hand on right thigh and press it down. So you're trying to keep your sacrum as balanced as you can on the blanket, releasing the belly down towards the blanket. And then up into the middle, and now right hand holds it and you take it across slightly to the right. At that point, I put my left hand on my left thigh at the top, at the outer left hip thigh, and I press it away, softening the belly. And then center and 2, let's just bend the knees and put the feet on the floor. Okay, so let's repeat this one. So right leg when you're ready. And if you want to take it flat back, that's fine. Right leg up. Right leg straight. Yeah, and then optional to straighten the left. And then when you're going to the right, you want to think of your foot coming towards your face first and then right. Try to keep your sacrum really level. Yeah, I use my left hand and I push my left leg down and I hold it and I watch it and I only go where I can, where that leg is staying really down. And then pulling with the arm to bring it up and crossing it over a little bit over to the left. You can switch the strap in your hands if you like, and you can put your right hand on your right thigh and push it away if you like. Like that. That's correct, Karin. And then up in the center and just bend them both. Rest for a moment, even out the back. And then when you're ready, you'll do your left. Straighten the leg first. Optional to slide the other leg out. And then when you're going to position 2, bring the foot forward towards the face and then to the side. Level the sacrum. Don't let the other side follow you. Make sure you're breathing. And then using the arm, bringing it up and crossing it over. Switching the hands if you like, and using your left hand on your outer left hip thigh. Good. And then hugging in legs and releasing feet to floor. Just move that blanket out of the way, lower the back. Cross the right ankle. When you're evened out and you're ready, cross the right ankle over the knee and then draw the legs into the chest. Optional. And switching over second side. And then rolling over, sit in a cross legs flat for just a minute. We're not going to hold it. So just sitting flat on the floor, fold the legs, sit up, and change the cross, and sit up. Good. Okay. So then now if you need to sit on a bolster to do your cross legs, then have it for sure. And you might need something a little softer underneath your legs. So I'm going to put a blanket under me for this next one instead of sitting right on the mat. Okay, so some of us can sit in a cross legs pretty comfortably flat, and the others are sitting up on a bolster. You may need a blanket, another blanket beside you. Okay, and then flex your feet a little bit, and whichever foot is in the front, you're gonna see if you can bring it up onto the other leg. Now, for some of you, it's gonna be able to come all the way up onto the opposite knee. And for some of us, it's gonna come a little lower, more towards the shin near the ankle. So that's okay. But keep your feet a little bit flexed. And then whatever foot is in the front, you reach forward, use your hands, pick it up and just slide it back. And it might land on your shin. Or maybe you can pick it up a little higher and it'll come all the way up onto the other knee. But keep it flexed. And then just try to sit up. And then hug it with your hands. Kind of hug it in and then take him out. And then we're going to recross. And so you just have to put your other one in the front. And if you forget, it's okay, because we're just going to do it a couple of times. And so whichever is now in the front, flex your feet, pick it up, slide it back. It might land near the ankle. Maybe it goes all the way up onto the knee. Flex your feet and sit up. And then hug it, the top one, hug it, and then take them out. So if your back is hurting, then you need to lean against the wall. And you need to sit up higher with more height underneath your hips. And we're going to go back to first cross. So we're going to try to hold it a little longer this time. And that means we might need to use a blanket. So whichever's in the front, flex and pick it up. If you can, bringing it all the way onto the opposite knee. And then sit up. And now if your knee is way up higher away from the bottom foot, then you're going to slide something under it. Yeah. And if it's pretty close to coming down, you lean forward a little bit and it might come right down. Yeah. There you go. So it doesn't have to be propped up super high. If you're able to just kind of come forward, yeah. And if it hurts, then of course you prop it up. And then even if you're leaning forward a little bit, just think of slightly up with the spine and even out as much as you can into your buttock bones. Yeah, like that. Good. And then we got to hug the leg in the same fashion to come out of it. So you kind of curve it in, and then let's just stretch them both. And we'll give that second cross a try. So you might need, the blanket on the other side, flexing the feet, picking up the one that's in the front. And if it's really close to come down, you might be able to just lean forward. And otherwise, if it's really pretty high, you want to prop it. Flex your feet a little bit, and then even if you're leaning forward, just think of up with your spine so you get a little length. Yeah, and then balancing as best you can into the weight of the two buttock bones. That's it. Nice. And then hugging in and extending both. Okay, so child's pose, comfortable child's pose. So if you prefer having your chest supported, that's fine. If you need blankets under your hips, on your heels, that's fine. Whatever way that you like to do child's pose. then we'll stretch the fronts of the legs. So coming forward onto the belly, stretching out the legs behind, creeping ribs forward. When you feel ready, you can catch your right foot. Yeah, so we'll be here for a few breaths. And releasing and trying the other side. Good, and then undo. Okay, so let's open up the blanket all the way on the mat for the next one and use the bolster. And I've taught this recently, so I think all of us have probably done this not too long ago. So I'm going to just show you from the side, and then if it's tricky, I'll turn around and show from the front. So I'm going to sit on the bolster facing with my side to you in a cross legs, and I'm leaving my right leg in cross legs in the front and taking my left leg behind me and then stretching the left leg back where I end up facing with my hips as evenly as I can forward towards the pillow. So let's see if we can do this one. So you start sitting on your bolster and cross legs. And we're gonna leave the right leg bent in the front. And then the left one starts coming back and your hands come down in front of you on the floor. And then you see if you can kind of even out your hips towards the bolster. Obviously, you know, the right hip is the outer hip and the left leg, the back leg, is the front of the thigh that's landing on the bolster. But you want it to just feel even as much as you can right to left. And then see if you can stretch your back leg back. Yeah, good. And then your foot on your back foot, you can do whatever you want. If you want it like a pointed position or toes turned under, whichever feels the best. And optional to come onto your forearms and lean forward, or to leave your arms straight and your chest lifted, whatever works in your lower back. Now, if you need to get out of it, of course, you know, you can just come back to cross legs. The belly muscles lift up, so you're not just over curving your low back. And then to get out of it, leaning on the right and the back leg comes around. Take your time and we'll sit in a cross legs. So the second time we do this, we will have the option of taking the bolster away and doing it, you know, with no prop. And otherwise you could just repeat it with your bolster. Okay, so if you're ready, you can leave your left one bent and bring your right one back. And try to even out the way your hips are landing on the pillow. So obviously it's the outer hip of the front leg and the front of the thigh of the back leg, but you want it to be fairly even. And then your back leg, you walk it back, curl your belly muscles up so you're not just over bending in your low back. And then you can stay with your chest up, or you could go on your forearms, or you can kind of go back and forth with that. But you want to keep your belly engaged so you're not just bending in your low back to do all of it. If you need to come out of it, of course, at any time, you just sit in your cross legs. And then leaning a little bit to the left, and the back leg can come around. So those that are going to do it again with the bolster are just going to switch the cross. And when we go, if you're going flat, try to keep your front foot flexed a little bit because it's slightly different in your knee joint when you're flat. Okay, so if you're using the bolster, just switch your cross and go to cross legs. And it'll be the right that's in the front, the left that's in the back. And if you're flat, just keep that front leg flexed, that front foot flexed a little bit. Pulling the belly muscles up to compensate for the bend in the low back and stretching the back leg, trying to even out your hips. And then leaning onto the front leg, back leg comes forward, and when you're ready, you'll switch it over to your other side with your left in the front. Look to even out the hips as best you can. And really stretch your back leg. Don't just collapse in the belly. You don't want to overbend in the low back in this. And then leaning to the bent leg. And now to do a small counter pose for the back, we can do either with a block or a bolster, a Setu Bandha. So I'm going to use a block. It could certainly be a bolster. I'm going to lay down, knees bent, lift hips, and slide the block under my sacrum. So that could be a bolster if you don't have a block. It could also be a narrow blanket, if that's better for you, for these Setu Bandhas with the prop underneath the sacrum. So once you're there, just see if you can right to left balance across the sacrum, hips, knees, feet, ribs, chest, shoulders. So your arms tuck under you a little bit, and the hips and knees and feet are tracking in hips distance, and you want to balance right to left as best you can. And then lifting enough to remove the prop from your back, lower your body, and then roll over and sit up. Let's move the blanket and come back. Take your time. Move your blanket, come back into downward facing dog. Optional to use the chair if it's better to be using the hands on the chair. Pressing back with your thighs, drawing the energy of the belly up. And those that have hands on the floor, come forward a little bit with shoulders over hands. Curl the right knee to chest and take it back. And then left knee to chest and take it back. Dog pose. Go right back into a dog pose, thighs back. And then lowering to a resting pose for a moment. So now we're gonna do an optional half handstand. So if you're feeling like dog pose is better for you, or even like resting in a child's pose, that's fine. But those that wanna do the half handstand, I'm gonna just demo it, and I won't be able to look at you because the way it's set up. I'm gonna have my hands away from the wall about 2 feet, 2.5 feet. And then I go up kind of like a mini dog pose. Step one foot up, and I'm trying to find where my hips are. And then I push really hard with the feet and go up with both of them. And then, of course, gauging how strong you feel in your arms, you step on down. Okay, so it's optional. You could certainly be doing dog pose. If you're ready to step up, push really hard with that foot. And then try to get your other foot up. Push hard, hard, hard. And then you have to, come down. When your arms start to tire, you have to come down. There you go. Push really hard with your feet. Really hard with your feet. Beautiful. Really good. Rest when you need to. And when you're ready to go back up, just try it again. So the trick is to just slam your foot into the wall as hard as you can, and then the other one has to go up. That's it. You push really hard. That's it. Push the feet. Push the feet. And lift your thighs. Well done. Really good. Nice. And rest. Good job. Good job. Okay. All right. So now, Karin, if you feel like you want to just lay there for a little bit and rest your back, that's fine. And then, but the others, we're going to sit in Virasana. So with as much height as needed. So Karin, if you want to stay resting, that's fine. If you want to sit in Virasana, that's fine. So you could use a bolster to sit on. You could use a block to sit on. Whatever is the comfortable way for you to sit in Virasana. And that might be lots of blankets on a bolster. Now just try to feel your shins as even as you can, right to left, ankles and feet. So the two legs are coming into a sense of evenness. And then if you can, you want to be right on the centers of your shins. So you have to turn your thighs out to do that. And sit up nice and tall. Good. And then come forward and lower your hip down, swing the legs around, and let's just let the legs stretch out. Good. Okay. So can we sit high enough so that we can sit with the right leg in Virasana and the left leg bent like Marichasana? So you might have to sit up kind of high if your right leg is tender in this. You know, you might have to sit up really high to see if you can take the right one in Virasana and the left one in Marichasana. And then as best you can, turn your right thigh out, and without just turning your, don't just let your leg go out. So your thigh rolls out, and you're trying to make the central line of your shin balanced on your right shin. Good. Okay. And then lean over and bring that leg out. Let them both stretch. And then if it's really easy to fold your left into Virasana, then you can just bend your right and bring your left in like this. If that's not easy, you know, then you can come in it this way if you need to come in the other way. And then the same thing, that thigh that's in Virasana rolls out, and you're trying to line up the central line of the shin, and you know, just sit up evenly if you can. So sometimes working at one leg at a time is better if one knee is injured, because then you can do the one that's not injured and like not be worried, you know, not having that extra layer of stress in your mind on you know, on the one side. And I don't know if when you're practicing, if you would be doing much Virasana, so kind of trying to get you to hold it for a little while, to just let your leg be in that position. Except for Jackie, she does Virasana all the time. Okay, and then if you can, easily, you can lean over and bring the leg out. Otherwise, you can put them forward and then let them stretch. Good. Okay, so let's see. Let's do legs up the wall or legs on the chair if that's better for your back. And so those of you that can easily go legs up the wall, just take your time laying flat, swinging the legs up. And if you're better off using your chair, then you can just lay down back flat and take the legs up. Alrighty, and then bend a little your legs to roll over and come on up. So I was doing that one with you and it just felt so good to stay in it. So the next one, we're gonna open up the upper back a little bit. You can do it with the rolled blanket. You could do it with the bolster. I'm gonna do it with a block. That's what I've been doing lately in my practice, but you can use the rolled blanket like we do, where you roll just a little bit of it and lay over it. You can use the bolster crossways, or you can use your block. And I lay down with my legs bent. I allow the head and shoulders to go back, arms go out. Oftentimes, you may need more height underneath your head. And after a few breaths, you can decide if you're going to extend your arms, stretch your legs, or go to a cross legs. Make sure you're breathing. And using the height underneath the head so that there's no disturbance in the neck. If the legs go out straight, really push them down against the ground. And sometimes I like to, at that point, stretch my arms overhead, and it's just this nice long stretch from arms through legs. Make sure you're breathing. Of course, coming up if you need to. So if you need to do a little less, you just roll over whenever you need to. You can also toy with the arms bent and bringing your forearms down towards the ground, holding your elbows. Let the breath continue to be smooth and steady. And then let's release the arms, bend the legs. You can either sit up or roll over to come out of it. Good, so just sit in a comfortable position and take your hands on the back of your skull where it's like your fingers are on the back part of your skull, and just softly flow up. Just like you could just gently bring the back of your skull up. I'm gonna turn my back to you. So I just create a little traction, taking the back skull up, and then I try to relax my shoulders down. And then relax your arms down. Okay, so then the next pose, I'm gonna have, there's two different poses. So the easier pose will be simple cross legs lying back over the bolster with some support for the legs and a blanket for the head. And so that should just feel very comfortable, comforting, and supported. And now I'm gonna demo the other pose and I'm trying to think how to set it up. I'm gonna set it up with a couple different props. So it's a Supta Virasana, but one leg in Virasana, laying back. It's a very, very, very deep stretch of the quadricep on the Virasana leg. It is sometimes approachable because it's just the one leg at a time. Whereas Supta Virasana proper with two legs is sometimes, not approachable for a student. Perhaps this is, so if you're doing the cross legs one and laying back, you can just set it up. You don't even have to watch the demo, but if you want to see this, I'll try to show it where you can see the best. So, okay, this, I'm gonna sit on the block, and I'm gonna recline back, and this could be much higher with lots of props behind my back. And then, so I'm sitting, let me just try to move my legs. So I'm sitting on my block. And then I'm bringing my right leg into Virasana. Now, when I teach you Supta Virasana, I don't have you sitting on the block. So this is gonna feel different in your back. So watch for just a sec. So then when I go back, I'm gonna lift my hips up and I'm gonna turn onto the back of my buttock bones more on that block. And now when I lay down, I have to pull my belly muscles down, so I'm not just taking all the bend in my low back. The stretch should be coming in the quad, not all in the lower back. Okay, so if you're ready to try it, you can take your right leg in Virasana, your left leg like Marityasana, and as you start laying back, kind of roll onto the back of your buttock bones. And your props behind your back could be as high as you need it to be. I mean, you could have all of the pillows on your bed stacked up there to be able to recline back. And then once you're down, pull your belly muscles down so you're not just over bending the low back. Good, and then Jackie, you can either come up or you can undo the leg and just set up your other side. Yeah, and just kind of roll onto the back of the buttock bones. Lengthening your tailbone. Yeah, good. If you're in the crossed legs, go ahead and switch your cross if you didn't. And Jackie, it's the same thing. Either you can undo the leg or you can sit up. And then you could just pull the block out. Go ahead and just recline. And the people in the cross legs, you can let your legs go out and we'll just lay here in a supported shavasana for a little bit with the legs really relaxing. So all around the top of the legs, just trying to soften and release. Follow your breath just very softly. If you're uncomfortable at all with the chest elevated, then you can lay flat if that is better for your back. But if you're comfortable, then just let yourself really relax. Arms and legs. Belly and chest and throat soft. And if you know, in the next few minutes, if you decide you need to lay down flat, that's fine. So just finding as much quietude and softness here, really allowing the body to rest back. And then feeling the breath again, really easy with the breath, like it's natural to just feel it with a light touch. And you may find that your mind actually does stay on the breath easily, effortlessly, and you may just feel the in-breath come in, the out-breath go out, and then the following in-breath come in, and there's not much else happening in the mind, and we'll just allow for that steadiness of attention on the breath with ease. with that same quiet contemplation now, bring your attention to your chest, to your upper torso, all the way around the front side and back. Just feeling sort of allowing the attention to spread and seep into the chest. On the inhalation, feel that the inhale just softly moves into the chest region, and it's so easy. It's like you're just noticing it. Instead of pushing the breath there, you're just noticing the inhale breath as it's touching into the chest region. And then notice how it touches. If it touches evenly right to left, if it touches more in the front or the back, just how it is moving in the chest. Now this involves a little bit more intellectual analysis. So see if you can soften, relax the face, eyes, allow for a letting go, an ease with this, where you're still looking inward at how the breath moves in the chest, but there's a quietness involved in that. It feels a word that it describes it well is allowing. Allowing the breath to just seep into the chest region. And allowing that attention to remain there as you're just feeling inhale and exhale. Let it go and rest. And then if you're still elevated with your chest, go ahead and remove the support from behind your spine and lay down flat. And make it comfortable, whatever you need to be really resting. And just let it all go. Letting go of breath work, letting go of the body, just softening, allowing, releasing. You may find that your mind kind of naturally falls onto the breath. That's fine. Just let yourself rest let's just do a quick body scan of with a gratitude. So the feet, thanking them for all they do, and you feel them, and you kind of feel like the prana just in the feet and in your ankles. And it's nice when you're in the joints to just kind of feel like clarity or light in the joints, the ankles, and then the lower leg, the shin and the calf, thanking them, and then the knee joints clear. And then the upper legs, the big muscles, the quads, hamstrings, and the big femur bone, thanking them for all they do, their strength, their support, and then the hip joints clear, and the pelvis, thanking the pelvis and the organs inside, all they do for us every day. And then around the waist, the front, and the side and the back, and the lower back, thanking the lower back, and the abdomen and organs inside, up into the rib cage, the actual bones of the ribs, thanking them for supporting our vital organs, and inside those organs, thanking them for what they do to keep us alive. Towards the upper back, shoulder blades, upper back muscles. Let them just, for a moment, be flooded with gratitude and thanking them. I know that they can get tight when there's stress and tension. And then into the shoulder joints, clear across the front of the chest, and the organs inside the chest, thanking them. Down into the arms, arm bones, upper arm bones, and the tricep biceps for their strength and their support, thanking them, and the elbows clear. Lower arms, kind of those more finessing muscles, and wrists clear, hands and fingers, thanking them for all they do, allowing us to write and express ourselves, cook, and everything the hands do. And back into the wrists clear, lower arms, elbows clear, upper arms, and shoulders clear. Back into the neck muscles and the spine, even in the neck, thanking it to the skull and the brain and the mind, and the front of the face, the organs, eyes, ears, tongue, and the throat, thanking the throat, all the way down to the heart, and we'll land at the heart and just gratitude there. And when you feel ready to move, you can either bring your hands onto your chest, or you can roll onto your side, just taking, what feels natural for you to carefully and slowly be coming out of your shavasana. Namaste.